Our paper was, the idea for it came about at the beginning of the Arab Spring to try and understand what other country experiences might have to say about democratic transition in the MENA region. At that time, there was both a feeling of strong optimism about strong and rapid political change, as well as a feeling that this would bring growth to the region. And what we found looking at other regions or other countries and other regions is a couple of things. And first, that there are many different types of experiences. So while about 45% of the 80 or so democratic transitions were successful, meaning that within 3 years, the index of democracy moved up and was sustained. In about 30% they failed. So it came up, but it either went back down or it only came up a little bit. And in another 15% or so, it was gradual. We also found some autocratic transitions, so transitions that went from democracy to autocracy. So using these different experiences, we can look at what happens to growth following them. And what we found is that it seems to be regime change more than anything else that promotes growth. So democracy still promotes growth, but so do other types of regime change. And this feeds into another literature which says leaders matter, and that you're more likely to get this type of regime change if things aren't going well. So incompetent regimes may be more likely to be replaced. So overall, doing various difference in difference type estimates, what we find is that democratic and autocratic transitions don't look very different in terms of their growth outcomes. Comparing democratic to failed, we don't get much difference there, in the sense that you'd think if it was about democracy, more democracy would be better. And the type that actually is the hardest on growth is the gradual transitions, often because they're gradual by default, not design, and come with a lot of uncertainty. We also looked at the determinants of both transition and its success. And in those cases, important characteristics tend to be an urban population, which is more likely to be associated with transition and success, or transition, not success, I'm sorry. And then female to male literacy, which is also more likely to be associated with transition as well as success. And natural resources tend to make success a lot harder. So we can look at the MENA countries here and see how they compare. And what I would say is that Tunisia actually fits the characteristics of the successful type of transitions pretty well. We also find a spillover effect. And this is critical because if Tunisia is successful, it means that might have a positive spillover effect on other countries. And as I said, even if there aren't growth benefits to transition relative to other types of transitions, there are still intrinsic benefits. And while democratic transitions aren't different from other ones, they still do produce higher growth. Thank you.